find, I've got two thoughts. I'm looking at the backscatter now. One is to just start heading back to
I think you're
F2A.
cutting in and out a little bit, Chris. It's a little bit hard to hear you.
Okay, can you hear me better now or the same? Am I off? Hang on.
Roughly the same, I think, was what you were asking me, if it's better or worse.
Ship moves
Yeah,
complete.
hang on.
They're deciding
Yeah,
what transact to do, right?
yep. So grab some zooms.
Yeah.
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 Lizzie, am I any clear? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you are now. Yeah.
Okay, I just logged off, logged back on.
Okay.
So two options that I'm looking at. One is to start heading back to EF2A, so get them set up to do a transect and a 3D and a mosaic somewhere along the Brea Reef. But I think probably in 3 hours they could do that anyway if we don't get too much further away. So another option, like just looking at, if you look at HIPAC,
Al, can we zoom in?
there's that other bright spot sort of to the east of us, like almost due east of us, across 3 bathy contours. So another option would be we could go check that out, or we could find out. Nav, is it possible to measure the distance between where we are now and that bright spot, 3 bathy contours to the west?
To the west.
Oh, to the west.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, my
Zoom
other
out
here.
Sorry, yeah, almost due west.
This looks like a little mound, perhaps.
Yeah.
This is 200 meters.
So we could do that for our 200 meter, and then from there they could transit, I think, without too much problem to EF2A, and do and get up to the Freya Reef and so forth. So
Sure.
if you don't, do you have thoughts? Do you have preference?
No, I like that idea. I kind of like going, instead of just going directly back, you're covering more area that way, and they can always explore the reef to the west as well if like they encounter it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's also the brightest return is out there in the current image, so it could be cool. And we want to be the ones to see it.
It could be. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Nav, if that's cool, then we would head to kind of the center of that that circle there.
Sure thing.
Right.
I think the only thing that I just want to check on the pilots, this is slightly downslope, although it looks like a pretty gentle slope. And then it looks like we might be going upslope again once we get to this final destination. So is this something that you're comfortable setting up now, knowing that we have a handover in 10 minutes?
How far to the downslope?
50 meters.
Yeah, well, we're pretty close to handoff anyway. Probably not going to be to the downslope by the time they're in.
Okay. Yeah. You want to get it going? Yeah. Okay.
All right, Al, let's come wide.
Just sit around and wait.
Yeah. So that bearing will be make sure we land on it. Let's say 283. And it's exactly 200 meters, so it's perfect. Bridge, Nav?
Yeah, great.
Step 200 meters, bearing 283. This is transect 9.
Lisa.
Siphonophore? Yep.
Oh, man.
I'm just,
Mm.
Yeah,
Too soon.
I'd rather bring up, you know.
that wouldn't be the way to hand off the watch.
No. Okay.
Here you go,
283 is
guys.
our heading. Bearing. Both. And let me know when we get started. We just started the ship move.
Yeah, I'm gonna strafe over before I actually start.
Great.
So Lisa, if you're listening, the route on HIPAC, I think you see where the marker is, off to the east about 280 degrees. So we're starting the transect now. You guys will finish that up and pull a Niskin at the end. You can check out that fairly bright feature and see what's going on there. You'll have time to play around, and if you want to do a small 3D mosaic, that's possible, but we only have 3 hours, and what we really want to get done is from there transit back north to the Ferrea Reef, all the glass, the giant dead glass coral reef, and there we want to get a transect done plus a small 3D mosaic of somewhere along that reef. So that'll probably take some time. So maybe once you get to the end point of this transect, I would just head due north and see if you can get those two things done before they have to pull. The only other thing to note, we did a slurp not that long ago, and maybe there may or may not be some sponge that was stuck in the slurp. So just so you know what's going on there if you guys decide to try and sample.
I can only imagine how different my perspective of this area would be if we, say, dropped down somewhere like here and just happened to miss all of the reefs on either side of us as we headed to footprint. You just never know.
Of at least having some of that bathymetry and backscatter data to give us a prayer. But still, yeah, we could have completely, it could be 2 meters away and we would have no idea.
Lisa's saying, can you please have Sam draw the waypoint for the area north you want us to transect and 3D mosaic?
Maybe just use that Ferrea Reef continues _1 waypoint. I think that's probably safe, and just transect between there and Ferrea Reef continues.
Roger. I can hand that off to our next navigator.
And as far as doing 3D mosaic, you know, just somewhere around the start or end of that that transect would be great. There wasn't like a feature that just dropped out at us that we waypointed to say this is what needs to be done. So it doesn't have to be a particularly big one. Yeah.
Okay, sounds great. We're starting our watch change now, so we will start hearing us pop off, but we will pass on that information to the next team. And we are currently about 40 meters into our current transect.
Thank you guys. You guys were all great. We will see you tomorrow morning.
Thanks. See you in the morning.
Chris, Abby just shared the paper on the nudibranch feeding preferences in the science chat.
Yeah. And so
And you can directly click on links in the science chat, which I think is really cool. They're actual like hot links that you can follow.
I'm so glad you told me that. I was just trying to copy it and I kept falling off. That was perfectly timed. Yeah. I hope it mentions the fly part. Thank you, Abby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Lisa and Di, if you're both in the science chat, maybe just saw what the data logger just wrote down, but Liz is hoping for a sample of the dead for every material, which would be definitely great to get. And I know we have at least one more box open available to us.
Looks like we're coming into an area now with relatively higher sponge densities.
In your detail, you're going to
Might be
have to
because
work
we're-
on them changing the name to the Deep Sea
Yeah.
Coral and Sponge Research and Technology Program.
Yeah, right. Oh, look at this jelly coming into view from the top.
That is
Very cool.
So cool. Wow. It's like a little electric light show when you look at the middle.
Oh, wow.
That is amazing. That is stunning.
Gosh, nature's so amazing. Between nudies that slurp things up like flies and these magical jellyfish.
Oh, Lisa's saying she's ready. Do you want to do a transition, or you want me to do the transition?
Doesn't matter to me. I think one of us should stay on just to verbally confirm that we're all good to go, but otherwise, I think it's pretty simple. I'll let you do it because you have kind of specific ideas to the route back. But I'll be in the science chat if anyone misses me.
Cool. You're missed already.
That was awesome.
All right, I'll chat with you. Look forward to hanging with you
tomorrow.
at 8. Cool.
Okay, sounds good. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks.
Hola, Chris.
Hey, buenos dias.
Buenos.
Or bueno
Bueno
something.
it
I
is.
guess not dias.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Maybe not.
Morning, evening.
Yeah, the number of hours you guys have been at it. Just talking to Lizzie this morning when we kind of had to come up with this dive on the fly. Words weren't all in the right order or anything. It was really funny. I wouldn't want to convert a recorded version of our conversation.
It's okay. Yeah, we were asking.
But
We're
you
like,
guys,
here's
Di.
Di, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear,
Yeah.
Di.
Yeah. So I have a vague idea of what's going on, but why don't you tell us?
Yeah. Okay.
Should we look at the high pack
Sure.
while you're telling us?
Yeah, I think that's probably the best idea. So it was pretty spectacular, the first part of our dive. The bulk of our dive has been really pretty incredibly cool, and you can see a large chunk of our track there. But one thing we didn't do, we just hit this amazingly huge, I guess the group before us hit this amazingly huge part of the dead glass sponge reef, the Ferrea Reef. And we have a couple waypoints up there demarcating it. But we kind of kept going and figured, well, if it was all over this area, we would just take a transect and a 3D mosaic later. But it later never came. It turned into an amazing hard bottom sponge reef complex. So we want to go back to that because it was so vast and so unique and so interesting. So really the most important thing is that piece. Right now, we set you up on a transect heading due east to a little mound that's right where your transect will end. You'll be in the middle of that mound. If you can pull an Iskin bottle there for Meredith, that would be great. It's also the brightest return back.
East or west?
Oh, sorry. You're right.
Yeah.
West.
Okay.
I've done that twice now. It's my other west.
Are you sure it's not north? I'm looking at where the ship.
Yeah.
Where the ship and is on high pack, and then to the north of where the ship is, it says Ferrea Reef continues.
Right.
Ferrea Reef again.
So that's correct. But so that's where you're going to end up. But right now you're on a westward transect. Got it. So
okay.
that about 3 bathy contours over, or 2, then there's a little circle bathy contour at the top of a knob. So that's where this transect will end. So finish that up. Hopefully it's interesting. It's the brightest backscatter return on the map. Pull an Iskin bottle, and then head up to Ferrea Reef _continues_1, which is just above the word photo mosaic. So just where you were saying, dive, kind of almost due north. And you can start a transect in the bearing that Ferrea Reef continues is. And then either at the beginning or the end of that, do a sort of small scale, fine scale 3D mosaic of any kind of feature that pops up a little bit that's a part of it. That would be great. That would be secondary to the transect. And lastly, Liz would like some a specimen from that reef complex. So there's sort of 5 things. End this transect, pull an Iskin, head north, grab a sponge sample, do a transect, and do a photo mosaic.
Great.
Okay. So where it says photo mosaic, did you do one already, or is that a spot where we could potentially do a photo mosaic?
We did one there, and that's where it had transitioned, started transitioning into that. Well, it transitioned in and out of that hard bottom reef sponge complex. So we actually did that. That's right on top of a hard bottom sponge. That was spectacular and cool. I urge you to take a look at it if you go back that route.
Cool.
But it's not really where the large amounts of Ferrea are.
Those are
even
near,
better.
Very near. Those were less diverse actually. The hard bottom rock sponge communities have been absolutely amazing, but the Freya Reef is just incredibly unique, distinguishing, and vast. So we want to get a transect of it. You can see there's other marks to the east of EF2A where it says Freya Reef, and then another one Freya Reef ends. So we have no idea how large this complex is, but for hundreds of meters, we were traversing it, and it didn't stop, and it's meters deep, meters thick. Like you come to a little valley with some sediment in it, and then you can get the feeling of how tall it is. It's of consequence. So yeah, you guys are at least going to think it's pretty cool and interesting, I think.
Oh, cool. So would you, yeah, sounds great. Would you prefer that we go further north where it says Freya Reef begins, Freya Reef continues, or go east or west of there? Of the photo mosaic? Well, there may not. Oh. Yeah. If you wanted to see how far it went, for example.
Oh, if you have time and can keep going along, your 200 meters, you can kind of see where we started this transect, and with that circle, you can kind of see where we're going to end. So that's your 200 meter scale. So if you started around Freya Reef Continues and headed north, you're going to go past Freya Reef Continues. And and if you have time, I would love it if you could keep going until you saw that it ended in any direction would be helpful. Yeah, that would be super cool.
Okay, awesome. And then but the mosaic at the beginning or the end of this transect up on the Freya Reef, correct?
Yeah, maybe let's even say the end, because I'd rather, most importantly, I think I'd rather get some quantitative data of what's on there. The photo mosaic's a cool bonus. So if you don't have time, because they can take, I think our last one took like 45 minutes. So if there's just not time, it's okay to bail on that.
All right.
And I think if I understand right, you're probably going to have to pull around just after 3 at some point. So yeah, if there's just not time to get all those things in, photo mosaic's the last priority.
Okay. Yeah, because we do have to make the run up from the end of this transect, so that'll take some time too. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh,
got it.
This is definitely waking me up.
Good. I'm glad you found something. Hey, well, have a great watch. I'm super excited. I'm going to keep watching for a little bit now because I'm a bit wired myself.
I know. Well, those monitors.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to just go to bed as soon as you're done.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
If you don't, you punish yourself because you have to get up no matter what. But you can't just turn it off. It's a little too compelling sometimes. So.
So have a beer, crack open a beer, and relax and enjoy for an hour.
I think I might just do that. It sounds like a great plan. All right, you guys, have fun.
Take care, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Terrain in 10 meters.
Buenos dias, Dan.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yep. Here we are.
Good evening. I'm not sure which.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
I don't know.
Top of the evening.
What do you say at midnight?
2 more. Well, that's what I say.
Yeah. I'm awake now, man. I think I got up at 11 and I thought, how am I going to do this? And now I'm excited.
Why?
Little cold water on the face. Got my coffee kicking in, and now a very exciting transit to look forward to.
So the reef went on well past our shift then. I thought we were at the end of it, it went on well past dinner. I came up for dinner.
And that was this reef way down here.
There's another one?
Yeah, and then they crossed quite a bit, and then we hit another bit.
Oh.
The bit
So
that we
we're
that we're going to and that they just were at, that was the same as at the end or the beginning of the prior dive.
Oh, I see.
Kind of return to it.
With all the golden corals?
That was the end of the prior dive. This was at the beginning of the prior
Okay.
dive.
I'm confused now. I'll find out when we get there.
Yeah. Just follow the tracks. So we're on a transect now, I guess?
Yes, that's correct. We've got about 25 meters left to go.
Great.
Okay, good. Good to know.
I see that they didn't mark the beginning, but I just marked it. It's in the data.
Oh, is it in the
logging
transect?
logger. It's
Oh,
transect
thank
8
you.
that we're finishing right now.
The 0652 was the beginning time?
Yeah. You can
Okay,
see it
thank you
in
for
the
entering
data logging.
Yeah. Thanks for entering that. Nice coral off to the left there as well, huh? This is beautiful.
Two more shifts, Di.
I know. I think yeah, the last one is on the north side of Santa Cruz, right?
Yeah.
It's very shallow.
But it'll be daytime.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
It'll definitely have light from the sun.
Oh.
On the cameras.
That's right. We'll have ambient light.
How many meters?
At its shallowest, I think 80. Half the dive is
So
at
that
80
might be
meters.
some.
Cool. I'm going to go
looks
fishing
pretty.
while the ROV's in the water.
Yeah.
Might catch an ROV.
Did you go back? Did you go back and see the swordfish?
I did.
On the
Did you
tape?
guys?
I haven't had the
I
chance
saw
to.
that
No.
you did, Di. Yeah. It was a swordfish.
Yeah.
They're out there.
I was yakking away about the derelict fishing gear at the time, and I had turned my attention to the chat because someone had asked, Lisa, asked Tom whether he thought that was old gear or new gear or something, and I was yakking away at that and not looking at the
Is that the end of
video
transect?
screen.
Well, I got kind of to the end of my leash, so I can't really go down anymore. But.
All right.
We're almost there. Just a couple meters. So. Yeah, we could call that the end. It's just like a meter shy.
Yeah.
It's downslope anyway, too. So.
Okay.
Okay, that's the end.
Okay. So we'll call
That's
this the
good.
end.
H18367.
You might be able to look down a little bit if you haven't already with your camera.
Up.
So this appears to be kind of the knoll that we were headed towards, and high backscatter. It makes sense given what we're seeing here.
We're going to head to the north, to the gray area?
Yeah, I think we're going to head through this on the way up back to the
There's a
Freya.
Coke can.
But I'm going to pause here for a
Coca-Cola
second. Bridge
can.
now.
This moment brought to you by
Hold
Coca-Cola.
position. Thank you.
Yep. Things go better with Coke.
Yeah.
So many sponsors on this dive.
So I think we're meant to change direction. So I'm holding position here, and we can kind of explore this knoll for as long as you like, and then we can head up through the bright backscatter.
We're going north after that. You said?
Yeah, we'll go northish over this.
Northish. Roger.
Yeah.
And then just so we explore the highest backscatter part, and then we'll kind of head over to where we're supposed to be.
Okay, good.
Whenever timing y'all would want for that, we can spend.
So I think they really want us to make it up to that Freya sponge complex.
Sponge reef, yeah. So as soon as the ship move is ready,
Roger that.
We're ready to go.
Okay.
And we need to pull a Niskin here.
Oh, okay. Let's do that
That's
now.
right.
Yeah, let's do that.
So whenever
Thank
you can do
Lisa.
that. So
Yeah,
everybody's
we can
back
pull
together
one.
again?
Let's pull one on the fly.
On the
If you head-
fly?
yeah,
Okay,
if you
Roger.
head north.
Yeah, set up north.
Setting up.
So I think this is the Peristinella covered
Can
with
you
the
rack back with that
pink.
camera?
brittle stars.
Yep. I
already got it on.
I'll look to the left just a little for me.
And you could go for Niskin number 3 or any of the other ones except
Which
for
one?
2.
3?
3, starting with 3 is free.
Right.
Yep.
Blue?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, Niskin. Went.
Who's going to do our countdowns when you leave, Steve?
Okay, you can put your camera back.
What's the sample number on that one?
Sample number 143.
143.
143. Thank you.
It's a good question.
Okay, you can get out in front of Argus there.
Better.
I think the more important question is who's going to fly Hercules and who's going to do the data.
Want me to tweak your camera away?
Yeah. Sure.
Oh, you must not be racked all the way up.
Yeah, that's it.
I got it.
Some pretty sponges here.
Ah,
Yeah.
sorry.
It's fine.
This is what it's like when you try to follow
Fluted
the
edge.
ROV with the port camera during launch and recovery. It's like
Okay.
so jumpy.
You don't have to follow the ROV with the port camera. You can just leave it as long as you can see it somewhere in the screen.
Exactly. As long as you can see it somewhere in the screen.
Yeah.
So, yeah. If I left it in one spot,
Is that more of
you'd
the
lose it.
Every
Peristinella?
time it moves, it's hard to figure out where the ROV is.
100 meters, 350. Thank you.
Well, I try to keep a piece of the ship in there.
So we'll just go 350 for just a bit, just to kind of cover this bright backscatter and then cut back over to where we're supposed to be.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Can you look down on bubble, Dan?
Oh, sorry, yes.
Thanks.
And I'm looking at something like 315 for off bottom.
315.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many more
3
weights
hours
we
from
got in the
now.
hole, Jake?
Yeah.
Whole stack.
Yeah.
Definitely want to try to be more on deck at 4 rather than recovering at 4.
Yeah, copy that. Suffer the wrath of
Yeah.
the deck foreman. He gets right grumpy.
We'll have to do an hour-and-a-half changeover then. Split up the time evenly.
Really cool stuff up here.
Yeah.
I like that one on the far right, just out of frame now. It's just got a bunch of different.
Drop down and
holes
give
in
me
it.
some more leash to come around. It's gonna be tight.
Oh, the one
on
that
your
looks
tent.
like it's a knee brace.
Yeah, knee brace, knee brace sponge.
Oh, that's a good
The
name
knee
for
brace
it.
rest. And I have never had to wear one. So
I have.
Get
Yeah.
some creative inspiration.
careful.
ready.
I'm knocking on every piece of wood around here. I've never had to wear a knee brace.
yeah.
My newfound
I mean-
skateboarding habit says otherwise.
Yeah.
Skateboarding and soccer defense.
Yeah, that'll do it.
I'm scrolling through the coral guide, Lisa. Trying to tune up a bit. my eyes.
I'm gonna press the button over there.
Yep.
You know, we've been seeing most. Oh, are you trying to tune up for tomorrow, or I think we're just going to be mostly
No,
seeing
for right
sponges.
now.
We're good.
Well, we've
You're
seen
good,
a
Di.
few fan corals. We've seen a few fan corals along the way, right? The Peristanella, and I'm not sure what else just yet. That's why I'm scrolling through.
Hey, Taylor Ann, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I had a good nap. Got
Good.
some juice here ready to keep me awake.
Are those jellies upside down on the ground?
Jellies upside down. They might be worms. Like worm
like
two feeding parts sticking out, but I can't tell from this far.
There's this one that looks, I don't know.
Are they just
yeah, they're worms. Yeah, they
worms?
Just the plumes. Yeah.
I thought those were sea pens.
Yeah, Anthoptilum. The
It's like curled back.
The squirrel.
Curled back.
The one that has the squirrel looking for the acorn.
Yeah, and the little red things that you saw, Jake, I think were worm tubes that they put their little feeding parts back in when you kind of drove over them.
Learn something new every day.
Sargus looking north, I think.
So how long a transit is it to get us to sort of the southern edge of the Ferrea Reef, sort of where they did the photo mosaic, I guess?
Yeah, Roger.
It
That's
looks like
high pack.
250 meters or something.
Right, yeah, something like that, 250 to 300 meters. At the speed, maybe 40 minutes, like that.
Do you think it's worth it for us to do another transect then? While we're traveling there anyways?
Are we far enough away from the...
We're not far enough away.
Oh yeah, you're right. We should wait.
Okay.
We will be at some point far enough away.
Yeah. Especially if it's like this. You can go fast.
Yeah.
But they definitely want us to do a transect when we're in the dead Ferrea Reef area.
Roger that, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
It'll be a good, that's the whole length of it, from what I understand from the targets and from listening in, is it's going to be about 200 meters, so that'll be a full transect length.
Right. Look at this. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
Nice.
Nice one.
Oh, and those are the file clams, the Acesta, I guess.
Yeah, look at them.
You seen those?
The good size.
Yeah.
We've been seeing that size for quite a while. Those are at least 10 centimeters across. Beautiful heterocone. And then is that what you're calling Peristanella on the rock below? Next
I
to
think
the clam?
so.
That's what I'm trying to find a picture of to just have that straight in my head, because we've seen that a few times now.
Yeah, and it's the one that the brittle stars often associate with, so it's actually white, but because the brittle stars are pink. We saw it at the end of our shift, our noon to 4 shift.
I get Peristanella and Plumarella mixed up. I get it mixed up with Plumarella for some reason, maybe because they're both peas, and they are okay. Here I've got the two.
Nice flying, Jake.
Thank you.
It was very dramatic.
Yeah, if we see that coral again in a opportunistic way to zoom in on our way while we're making tracks up to the reef, sponge reef.
The ones with all the brittle stars on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
but not to
definitely,
take too much time.
it's definitely a primnoid, but I'm not sure which one. I always get that confused with the Caligorgia.
Next time I see it, I'll make sure to slow down near it.
I'm looking at Plumarella and wondering if it's that, because it seemed like it was on one plane, but anyway.
Do you know your crabs? I have no idea. Sort of smooth.
I do not, although.
Quick zoom on him, Steve.
It looks like a tanner crabbish looking crab.
Yeah. Thanks, Taylor.
With a little seagrass next to it on the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, so Chris Caldo was saying at the end of his watch, he was just on, that NOAA has a deep sea coral program, and he said we're going to have to convince him to change the name to the Deep Sea Coral and Sponge program.
Because so we're switching over to 040.
040.
Yeah. Well, we do submit sponge data to them, to the national database from these dives as well. Yeah, they just don't have sponge in the name of the Deep Sea Coral Research and Technology Program. It's already.
Next, not a way to control the lens on this camera.
There is.
How do you? I don't see it. I can. What's that? Oh, if I wanted to zoom in on the lens. It's the focus magnifier. What that just does here.
These are some spectacular looking sponges here.
Is that one of those Aristoteles? Is that what it was down there?
Yeah, can we zoom in on that little coral below this big old? Thank you.
Steve, you can zoom.
I was just trying to make out if that's what we were what I was looking for. Oh, now wait a minute. This could be.
Seems out of focus.
That seems sort of like what I'm not an expert in this, so I couldn't do a definitive confirmation.
But good to get a zoom. It looks, to me, it looks different than the peristenella we were seeing. Any guesses, Taylor Ann?
I'm thinking maybe Calogorgia, but I'm not an expert either. I'm still learning from everyone around me. Let me see.
I think we'll need to get moving.
Yep.
Unless you want me to pause here, Science.
Okay. Thanks for that zoom.
045 or 040.
040, yeah. You can change our address over to that too.
What dive are we on? 1837?
Yes.
Roger that.
All right, why do I not see it here? I gotta make a new folder when I...
It could have been a Chrysogorgia. Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, that's also a possibility.
Looked more like peristenella than Chrysogorgia to me, from my limited understanding.
Yeah, I thought it
have
looked
a Chrysogorgia in here.
1837, right?
Roger.
Yeah, so Plumarella or a peristenella. So
Yeah, the Chrysogorgia I have seen different, lacier. Although here's the Chrysogorgia pinnata. Things are in a pinnate, the pinnate leaf pattern that we know from trees. It is. Well, we're in the ballpark. We'll say it.
Well, we can at least say it was a primnoid, and we won't be wrong. If it's peristenella or a Plumarella. I got sort of confused.
The Chrysogorgia are in a different, in a different family.
No.
The Chrysogorgia is in a different family. Chrysogorgidae.
No, I was thinking of the two primnoids.
Right.
If we were trying to decide between those two.
Yeah. Taylor Ann was thinking it was a Chrysogorgia.
Yeah, it seems like it was a primnoid at least. That's a safe guess.
Yeah.
Steve would shake his head at me. You should know this.
Encyclopedia Steve.
Yeah.
Well, what is your vote, Steve?
They're talking about science, Steve. Different Steve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
oh,
Steve.
The other
what
Steve.
Is it?
I didn't guess for a reason.
You're thinking Steve Oskovich
Yeah.
versus our Steve. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, and then there's Calogorgia. Is that what you said, Taylor Ann, or Chrysogorgia?
Yeah, I had said Calogorgia or
Calogorgia. Yes. So that's in the Primnoidae. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but the branching was not Calogorgia like at all.
Right.
So
that's why I was maybe
no.
Peristenella.
Yeah.
Then there's Calyptrophora.
Oh, stop.
I'm gonna stop.
Stop while you're ahead, Di.
Stop.
Stop the madness.
Yeah.
Big Cheeto.
Yep.
It's funny, those Cheeto corals are they're brighter than the white ones, believe it or not.
Jake had his first go at a Cheeto model. 3D model?
I did.
How'd it go?
It looks pretty good. I included a couple images that were blurry. I didn't really go through and delete them, so, but it was like a data set of 120 images. And
oh, from our previous shift.
Yeah,
yes.
from
that
last
one.
night or yesterday. Yeah.
Oh.
And they
Nice.
actually came out pretty decent. I just let the program do its thing and just a couple clicks of a button.
So you're saying if it's not a good quality photo, it actually...
Yeah, if it's blurry, because it'll still try and match that photo to the other photos, and so it'll use, I don't know, the information from it to...
Interesting. So not all information is good information.
Yep. And then there was a couple images where we were slurping a sample, so I didn't go through and remove those.
I don't know how those got in there.
Yeah, it must have matched it to the, because it was kind of just as we were drifting, so it probably matched them to like the ground surrounding the sponge and stuff.
Pretty cool tech though. I like it.
You can like see the track of the ROV with because it shows the poses of the camera, kind of, and how we pirouetted around the sponge. It's pretty cool stuff. This structure from motion.
So
can't wait to do that with my drone at home.
And how would we get a hold of your 3D model? Is that something that would be included in
Send $5 to Jake Bonnie.
That was my question exactly. Where do I send the check?
All donations appreciated. No, well, I kind of did it just as a test, just to see if what we were doing, like the
ground
distance,
truthing our
kind of ground truthing our pirouettes, and so it wasn't really like a final model. I don't know how to do some of like the final editing and like rendering of the model, so that's stuff I haven't done. So someone else will probably handle that sort of thing, and it was pretty quick though.
Okay.
I ran it on my computer and it took a little under 2 hours to finish with about 120 images. And if you were to include some of the high resolution deep sea stills, deep sea camera stills that we have, it might improve the resolution too.
So
the hardest part is going through the hundreds of files and picking out the files, and then also the DSC.
So can the model have like impressions? Like, does it create the funnel inside the model as well?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It'll create
totally see it.
That's cool.
And so it's important to capture those like top viewpoints. And as many viewpoints as you can. And it picks up a little bit of noise, so there's some cleanup, like post-processing cleanup you have to do with like.
So have you tried one of those models with the stereo camera images?
Not out here, but I had over the summer. I did do some with. Actually, it was the Roman bottle Herc downward-looking cameras, and I was kind of messing around with some stereo stuff, and they told me to run it through Colmap, which is the program I was using, and and it turns out a little bit better because you kind of get that, you get more depth information for every set of images, kind of, because they're.
So it matches the stereo images.
Yep, but you kind of treat them as separate images.
It gets, it doesn't. From what I understood from K2, is it doesn't matter so much that it is a stereo pair. It's just a better. You get more data for every particular angle that you're looking at.
Yeah. And
so it treats it the same. Each of those photos the same. It's just that there's more. It's better.
Yeah, for collecting depth information, it's sometimes really important to have two cameras really close together, because.
You would think it'd be advantageous for the software if it could recognize that it was a stereo camera, because then it would know that the exact distance between the pairs. I thought that might be able to help.
Right. I don't believe that particular software is meant to do that, but it's possible that there's a setting in there, or that I'd say it's definite that there's software out there that can process them as stereo pairs.
Yeah, it probably costs money though.
I've messed around with it. There is like options to, like, if you have like a set camera position, it isn't really useful for something like this where the Herc is moving at all times, but if you're doing like still shots from like a with a bunch of cameras from like a set viewpoints, then you can input their positions in relative space, and you get somewhat better data points, somewhat better information. Something it's less for the software to do, so it doesn't have to calculate the.
So what we need is our mini Zeus mounted up in the bumper, so you would have 2 HD stills going around.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That would be.
Yeah, then you could have like a calibration. You could bring out the calibration thing. Take that down in one of the bio boxes. Because and then as long as you stick with that those fixed angles, I think that you could call that a stereo pair. That's at least understands it, you know.
Oh, you mean like bring a chart and center up on the same thing?
Like a chessboard.
Yeah. Dan, what are you gonna auto with your drone?
I'm not sure. Cows. Cows in the field.
Pick a nice tree. They don't get freaked. They don't get freaked out by the drone?
No, they ignore it. The horses get freaked out.
Sounds like a bee. Huh?
They get all bucky.
Pretty fun to mess around with though. The first time I used it, I just like took like 50 pictures of my truck outside and just ran the software and like just kind of just to see how it worked, and just made a little model of my truck.
Nice.
Did it work well?
Yeah, it worked pretty well. Obviously, if I had taken more pictures, it would have come out a little better. There was some like, I have like my ladder rack, and it was kind of, there was occlusions all around it and shadows.
So what are these little stalks that are sticking up? Are those worms? Tube worms?
The brownish red.
We don't.
I think so.
Yeah, they're green. No, there's a whole bunch that they look like little sticks.
Because you can see the little red spots.
Quick land and zoom.
On the sediment too, I think those are the plumes that come out from
I
those
see.
little tubes.
Right, like a bunch of them there.
Just they're everywhere.
Gem coat.
Just
There's another piece of cow.
Or zoom. But if you do a quick land and zoom.
Oh yeah, can you see
Zoom?
the little? And they might retract.
Yeah, they will. You spook them.
If we get
You'll have to
close
look down close in front to get a good.
Yep.
Sorry. What?
Yeah, exactly those.
Sorry. What am I looking at here?
Look, yep.
Just zoom in.
They just look.
Those
They
little
look like
brown
twigs.
Yep.
stalks sticking up their
Those
little.
things.
Yeah, little
There.
worm tubes.
Those things.
The black things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they are tubes. Okay, thank you. You know, but it's just so hard to forget. You know, where this
You want the
deep
kelp,
down, there's
Taylor
not going
Ann?
to be any photosynthesis.
I already got
so
a piece
it's
this
not-
dive. I think I'll be all right.
Yeah.
We can zoom on it though. I'm
Okay.
curious to see if it's macrocystis. It looks like it from here, but I can't tell.
Zoom, Steve.
Yeah.
Zooming in.
Yep.
See those ridges? Yeah.
That's macrocystis perfora.
All right, gotta get up and
Some
move.
bryozoans on it.
Time to go. Zoom and zip.
Ah. Oh my God.
I'll do the camera, you zip.
Yeah. Can never get it straight
no,
on.
me neither.
Oh.
Doesn't need to be perfectly straight. That's probably good. Yeah. Oh,
I think
sorry.
you had it, and then it bumped to one
Yeah.
more once
Really?
again. Yeah.
Oh, for proportional control. Okay.
Nice.
I can look up, but cool. Oh, you're doing it. We're both doing it.
I'm zooming too.
Okay. I was trying to get rid of that.
I noticed like lens was like warping. It's the
I
vertigo
gotta tilt
shot.
those
Oh,
lights
no,
up some more.
You know what the vertigo shot is?
Yeah,
The vertigo shot.
makes you dizzy.
Yeah, it's when you like push. It's when you push in, like on a dolly
Looking
with a
down.
camera, like as if you're racking in on the ROV, but you're zooming out simultaneously.
Oh, dolly zoom, or what do they call that?